In this video, I'm going to try and make pork ribs and burnt ends.
But then with the meat as well, because I'm going to cut it up into cubes, there's a lot of surface area too. Yeah, I wrote down ratios, I didn't write how much though. Halve it, and 1/2 put black pepper in, because it's easier to do that. Oh, is it? Okay, this is my second attempt at smoking barbecue stuff. Okay, that's pork if you can't tell, and that's the beef. I'm going to try and do poor man's burnt ends as well. You have the tip of a brisket, and that's kind of nice, I think. I've only had shit brisket, so like I wouldn't know. But pretty much the reason it's poor man's is because you use cheap cut of meat. And I think chuck is considered pretty good for this. Now I've adjusted the rub recipe from last time that I made it because it was a bit too spicy. I wanted it a bit sweeter. Rub for burnt ends, I'll just add pepper to it.
With the rub, about half of it was going to go back onto the beef. I put this at pepper separate again because I don't want pepper on the pork. So afterwards, we're going to separate the rub and then mix the pepper into it. 2 tablespoons of salt, followed with 4 tablespoons of honey granules because I want something sweeter. About 3 tablespoons of smoked paprika. About 3 of brown sugar. I'm going to go with some chili powder, garlic powder. Yeah, about 2 1/4. Alright, we'll go with that. Tablespoon of black pepper. Yeah, that's about it. Okay, from what I could research or gather on the internet, I think some people seem to separate the meat first with its natural separation where the fat is and all whatnot. I'm going to trim off any sinew that you probably don't need. See, I'm left with that. Now that we got these big chunks, I want to give it nice big cuts. Literally that big. Okay, that's good, that's good. If there's a lot of fat on this, maybe just trim that all off, most of it off. Set your beef aside. You see how white this layer is? I think that's what everyone says the membrane is, but basically you can peel it off pretty easily. Whilst they say it doesn't allow the rub to go in and penetrate the meat, the main concern is actually more like, I think it's pretty tough. It won't cook very well. You grab yourself a really shitty knife you don't care about, like this butter knife, and kind of scrape along the bone so you can kind of get it under. You got a little flap there. Use kitchen paper to then.
That's weird.
Yeah. There's like seems to be some sort of film on here. I might just give it a light scoring binder with yellow mustard. You don't need that much, I don't think. No, there's plenty. Plus the mustard will make it taste pretty good. Honestly, I think these ribs might be really nice. I think there might be a small issue with the fact that the bones end here, and there might be like sort of, what do you call it, cartilage there, I think maybe. But I think because it's going to be tender at the end, it'll be easily separated, I'd say. Make sure rub in. You know how many purists and those, what do you call it, gatekeepers there are in the community of barbecue? Like food purists. Okay, now that your rub's done, we're gonna first do it on the pork. Because I put less salt on this, so you can be even more generous. Plus it's not gonna be too spicy, it should be alright. Not everything needs to be about spice tolerances. Get under the meat flaps. Now remember, I'm going for a sweet smoky thing, not a spicy thing. Now the point of the burnt ends is to get a nice bark on it, which is that it looks kind of burnt and hence burnt ends, plus it's also a little bit burnt, but you don't want to burn it. I know, lots of words. So what I'm going to do is add pepper to the blend. Oh, this is so fucking bad for my nose. Again, just rub the shit out of it. It's called a rub, don't just sprinkle it or rub it in. I'm pretty much just soaking the smoked chips in hot water just for a little bit. So I think it's designed to last a bit longer. Others, because they're a bit small, they're going to burn and smoke a bit too quickly. People seem to be spraying liquid onto their smoking stuff to keep it nice and moist. Doing like a apple cider vinegar and water blend. I mean, I suppose apple's sweet and all that, so I think there'd be like 1/4 to 1/3 apple cider, rest water. Periodically, about like every 45 minutes, we're going to spray this. I think I'm probably going to smoke all of this for about 3 hours first. And then 2 hours wrapped up in foil with butter and honey. And then smoke it again, exposed, but covered in a glaze, about an hour. So I'm gonna try the 3-2-1 method.
This is so much pain trying to set this all up. It was awful. You know, at this point, I probably should have just like forked out some money for the new barbecue that we do have. Okay, here we go. Compilation of pain and the most dodgy barbecue setup possible. At this stage of the smoking process, I've pretty much done the main smoke. I'm gonna now put it in an aluminium tray that I then put butter and honey. Well, I put the foil over it and it's all enclosed. So ribs and burnt ends in the foil container. Oven it for I think it was 180 for like 2 hours or something like that. Flipping it halfway through. Flip all this around. Just gonna flip this.
Okay, this is round 2 of making a barbecue sauce that I will like, hopefully.
I think it was 3 tablespoons of paprika, 3 tablespoons of onion powder, 3 tablespoons of honey granules, and some arbitrary amount of the leftover rub, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. I think it was like 100 grams of butter, maybe 50. I could melt that into the pot and put all those spices into the pan. At least that's what I did. Followed it with tomato sauce. It does that. Worcestershire sauce. Man, this looks awful in the middle process. Like about 2 tablespoons of mustard, 2 tablespoons of honey, maybe. And just because I had to, I put scotch in because the only bourbon I had was too expensive. I just don't have one of those paintbrushy things. In short, just glaze your meat and then put it in the smoker again for about an hour approximately, and then rotate it if you have a very awful setup just like mine. To demonstrate, this is what you're supposed to do, but this is old footage from the first time I tried making it. If I was to say any sort of final verdict, obviously get a proper setup. Cook it a bit lower. Stop opening the lid so often so it cooks properly and thoroughly. Make sure there's a consistent amount of smoke. Again, not too hot. If it's too hot, it will dry out a bit too quickly. Taste-wise, it was perfectly palatable. Also, I mean, I'd rather eat this than go to a fucking barbecue shop anywhere in Perth, so...
I think this is the best ribs I've made.
It looks awesome.
Oh, pretty good.
That's the best we can get out of him. It's fucking delicious. I want to try something that looks really good.
Right, that's actually good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's really melty. It's good.
Toothsomely tender, but it's like, what's bullshit? It tastes a lot like biltong.
Really?
Yeah, because the black pepper.
Also, can you like and subscribe? I really hate my job. So, if I can do this full time, it'd be alright.